Okay, in this video, we're going to look at graphical method of solving quadratic equations. Graphical method of solving quadratic equations. How to solve quadratic equations with graph using the graphical method. So let's look at a question here. Using a scale of 4 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the x-axis and 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on the y-axis, draw the graph of y is equal to s squared minus x minus 6 for a value of x ranging from minus 3 to 4. And then the question underneath is use your graph to find the roots of the equation s squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. So again, I read. The question is, using a scale of 4 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the x-axis and 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on the y-axis, draw the graph of y is equal to s squared minus x minus 6 for a value of x ranging from minus 3 to 4. So the first thing that you would want to do is to write out the equation. So the equation is y is equal to s squared minus x minus 6. So this equation can also be written as y is equal to s squared minus 1x minus 6. Minus 1x minus 1 times x will still give us minus x. But for the fact that we want to write out a table of value, we would use this. So the next thing that you would want to do is to write out the table of values. The table of values that you would use to draw the graph. So the question is, using a scale of 4 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the x-axis and 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on the y-axis, draw the graph of y is equal to s squared minus x minus 6 for a value of x ranging from minus 3 to plus 4. So from what we are given here, that the value of x ranges from minus 3 to plus 4. So x can be minus 3, x can be minus 2, x minus 1, x can be 0, x can be 1, 2, 3, 4. So the value of x ranges from minus 3 to where? To 4, to plus 4. So I'll come here and draw out a line here. Draw a line here to separate them. Right? Okay. So having done that, the next thing that we would want to do is to now put in our equation. So the equation is y is equal to s squared minus 1x minus 6. So first of all, I will look for the value of x squared. So I'll write s squared here. So when x is minus 3, what will be s squared? When x is minus 3, s squared will be minus 3 times minus 3. So minus 3 times minus 3 will give us what? 9. Minus times minus will give us what? Plus. So minus 3 times minus 3 will give us plus 9. So we'll have 9 there. When x is minus 2, s squared will be what? S squared will be minus 2 times minus 2. And that will give us what? Plus 4. When x is minus 1, s squared will be minus 1 times minus 1. And that will give us what? Plus 1. When x is 0, x raised to power 2, that's 0 raised to power 2, will be what? 0. When x is 1, when the value of x is 1, my s squared will be 1 times 1, and that will give us what? 1. When x is 2, my s squared will be what? 2 times 2, that's 2 squared, and that will give us what? 4. When x is 3, when the value of x is 3, My s squared will be 3 times 3, and that will give us what? 9. When x is 4, s squared will be what? 4 times 4, and that will give me what? 16. So I've gotten the value for my s squared. So what we're doing here, we're looking for our table of values, the table of values that we would use to plot our graph, right? So I've looked for the value of s squared. The next thing that I have here is minus 1x. So minus 1x. So when x is minus 3, when x is minus 3, my minus 1x will be what? Will be minus 1 times minus what? 3, when my x is minus 3. So minus times minus will give me what? Plus. So minus 3 times minus 1 times minus 3 will give me plus 3. So this will be 3 plus 3. When x is minus 2, minus 1 times minus 2 will give me what? Plus 2. When x is minus 1, minus 1 times minus 1 will give me what? It will give me 1. When x is 0, minus 1 times 0 will give me what? Will give me 0. When x is 1, minus 1 times 1 will give me minus 1. So when x is 1, when x is equal to 1, when x is 1, then my minus 1x will be what? Minus 1 times what? 1. And that will be equal to minus 1. So that's how we got this minus 1. When x is 2, when x is 2, minus 1 times 2 will give me minus 2. When x is 3, minus 1 times 3 will give me what? Minus 3. When x is 4, minus 1 times 4 will give me what? Minus 4. So we've gotten the values for what? For minus 1x. So having done that, the next thing that we will do is to write out this. So the next thing here is minus 6. Minus 6. So minus 6 is a constant. It has no variable, it has no x. So the value will be the same all through. Why? Because of the fact that it is what? A constant. So here will be minus 6 all through. Then the next thing is to write the value of y. So that's that. So the next thing is what? Our y. We've looked at s equal to s raised to the power of 2. Then we have minus 1x, which is here, and then we have minus 6. Then the next thing is our y. So what will not be the value of our y? The value of our y is equal to s squared minus 1x minus what? 6. So these are x squared minus 1x minus 6 is equal to what? Is equal to y. So 9 plus 3 minus 6 is what? To get the value of our y, all we need to do is just to add all these values. Add all these values. So 9 plus 3 is what? 9 plus 3 minus 6 is what? So I'll bring it out my calculator and punch that. 9 plus 3 minus 6, that's if I add everything here, 9 plus 3 minus 6, that is equal to 6. So our value of y here is what? 6. 2 plus 4 plus 2 minus 6 is what? Is 0. 1 plus 1 minus 6 is minus 4. 0 plus 0 minus 6 is minus 6. 1 minus 1 minus 6 is what? Is minus 6. 1 minus 1 minus 6 is equal to minus 6. So that's how we got this minus 6 here. 4 minus 2 minus 6 is what? 4 minus 2 minus 6 is equal to minus 4. So here is minus 4. 9 minus 3 minus 6 is 0. 16 minus 4 minus 6 is 6. So this is our value of y. So we've gotten our table of value for this equation, for a value of x ranging from minus 3 to what? 4. So having done this, the next thing is to use these values to plot our graph. So this is our graph. So this will be our y-axis. This will be our y-axis, and then this will be our x-axis. This is our x-axis. So let's go back to our table of value. So the question is, using a scale of 4 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the x-axis. So we're asked to use 4 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the x-axis. What does that mean? What that means is that from one line to another is 1 centimeter. So this is 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters. So every 4 centimeters represents 1 unit. So here will be 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be 2 because every 4 centimeters represents 1 unit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be 5. So we'll end there first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be minus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be minus 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be minus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be minus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be minus 5. So that's what that means. Using a scale of 1 centimeters to represent 1 unit. Each of the boxes represent 1 centimeter. So this is 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, then we have our 4 centimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4. So each of the 4 centimeters represents 1 unit. So that's what we've done here. Then that's on the x-axis. And 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on the y-axis. So what that means is that for every 1 centimeter, that's equal to 1 unit. So from here to here is 1 centimeter, so this is 1 unit. From here to here is another centimeter, this is 2 units. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So this is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8. So 1 centimeter to 1 unit on the y-axis. So let's go back to our table of value. So when x is equal to minus 3, our y is equal to what? 6. So when x is equal to minus 3, our y is equal to minus 6. So when x, this is our x-axis, right? So I'll look for where I have minus 3. This is where I have minus 3. So when x is minus 3, our y is what? Our y is 6. So I'll trace it down to where I have 6. And then I will mark that point. This is where I have 6. This is where I have minus 3. So both meet here, right? Then I'll move to the next value. When x is minus 2, y is what? Y is 0. So when x is minus 2, this is minus 2, y is what? Y is 0. This is the point I have 0. So when x is minus 2, y is 0. So I'll come here and mark here. This is where they meet. Then when x is minus 1, y is what? Minus 4. When x is minus 1, y is what? Y is minus 4. So I'll trace it down to where I have minus 4, and then I'll mark that. When x is 0, y is minus 6. So this is where I have x is equal to 0. This is the 0 point on the x-axis. I'll trace it down to where I have what? Minus 6, and then I would mark it. When x is 1, y is what? Minus 6. When x is 1, y is what? Y is minus 6. So this is the point where I have 1 on my x-axis. So when x is 1, y is what? Minus 6. So I'll trace it down to where I have minus 6, and then I will mark it. When x is 2, when x is equal to 2, y is what? Y is minus 4. So when x is 2, this is where I have 2 on my x-axis. Y is what? Minus 4. So I'll trace it down to where I have minus 4, and then I would mark it. When x is 3, y is what? Y is 0. So when x is 3, this is the point I have 3 on my x-axis. Y is what? Y is 0. And this is the point I have 0. So I'll mark it here. Right? So when x is 4, when x is equal to 4, my y is equal to what? 6. So when x is 4, this is where I have 4 on my x-axis. Y is equal to what? 6. So I'll trace it down to where I have 6, and then I will mark it. So having done this, the next thing I would do is, we have completed our table of values. The next thing I would do is to draw a line that will pass through all these marked points. So I'll bring out my ruler, or I'll bring out my whatever I want to use. So this is what I want to use, like in form of a broom. So let me turn it around. I'll turn it around first, right? So I'll put it here like this. So what I would now want to do, so what I would want to do is to draw my line. So I'll start from here and then draw the line. You can see the line cutting across the marked point, right? Across the middle of the marked point. So with this, I have drawn my line connecting all these marked points, right? So I have drawn my graph. The question is, draw the graph of y is equal to x squared minus x minus 6 for a value of x ranging from minus 3 to plus 4. So we've drawn the graph. The next question is, use your graph to find the root of the equation. So the root of the equation x squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. This is the equation. So the root of the equation is the point where the curved line touches the x-axis. The point where the curved line touches the x-axis. So it touches the x-axis at this point at minus 2, and also crosses it at what? At minus 3, at plus 3. So my x, the root of the equation is x is equal to minus 2. That's the point it crosses it here, and the point it crosses it here, or plus 3. This is my answer to this question, to question number I. So this is just the simple method of solving quadratic equations graphically. Thank you very much for listening.